Swollen legs are not just a cosmetic problem, they are a warning sign, a sign that something deep inside your circulatory system is breaking down. And here is the part that should concern you most. The majority of people over 60 who suffer from leg swelling, heaviness, and that burning, aching pain at the end of the day are missing one specific vitamin. A vitamin that acts like a biological drain cleaner for your veins. Not the ones your doctor checks for, not the ones on the front of your multivitamin bottle, a different one entirely. And the moment you start getting enough of it, something remarkable begins to happen. Your legs stop retaining fluid, the heaviness lifts, the pain fades, and your veins begin to function the way they were designed to function. Stay with me, because the number one vitamin on this list is so powerful that one clinical trial found it reduced chronic leg swelling by up to 63% in just 28 days. And yet, almost no physician brings it up at routine checkups. That ends today. I am Dr. Eleanor Whitfield, a physician specialized in senior health with over 15 years of dedicated clinical experience. I have spent my career working with men and women over 60 who were told their leg swelling was simply part of getting older, that they should elevate their feet, wear compression stockings, and accept the discomfort. I refuse to accept that answer. Because in patient after patient, I kept seeing the same pattern. Specific nutritional deficiencies. Predictable, correctable, and profoundly ignored. What I am about to share goes against everything most people have been told about leg health. But I have seen the results with my own eyes, and I refuse to stay silent any longer. If this information seems valuable to you, go ahead and hit that like button right now. So let us talk about what is actually happening inside your legs. After the age of 60, your body undergoes a series of vascular changes that most doctors simply attribute to aging. But aging is not the whole story. Here is what is actually happening inside your body right now. Your veins contain a system of one-way valves, tiny flaps of tissue that push blood upward from your legs back toward your heart. When those valves weaken, blood begins to pool in the lower legs. Fluid leaks out of the capillary walls and accumulates in the surrounding tissue. That is what creates the swelling you see and feel, the heaviness, the sock-line impressions on your ankles, the burning and aching that gets worse as the day goes on. After 60, your body produces significantly less of the enzymes and compounds needed to maintain vascular wall integrity. Collagen production drops. Antioxidant defenses thin out. Inflammatory compounds that damage vessel walls build up unchecked. And certain key vitamins that regulate fluid movement, strengthen vein walls, and prevent that dangerous pooling become critically depleted. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that over 72% of adults over 65 show measurable deficiencies in at least 2 of the key vascular vitamins. 72%. That is not a small number. That is nearly 3 out of every 4 people sitting in waiting rooms wondering why their legs hurt. And here's what terrifies me most about this situation. Chronic leg swelling is not just uncomfortable. When blood pools in the lower limbs for extended periods, it creates conditions favorable for blood clot formation. It increases the risk of venous ulcers, open wounds on the lower legs that are notoriously difficult to heal in older adults. It contributes to neuropathy. It affects kidney function over time. And it dramatically increases fall risk because swollen, heavy legs change your gait and reduce proprioception, your body's ability to sense where your feet are in space. This is a full-body problem wearing the disguise of tired legs. But here's the truth I want you to hold on to for this entire video. You are not broken. Your diet is broken. Your information is broken. Your body still has the capacity to repair these vein walls, improve valve function, and clear that trapped fluid. It simply needs the right nutritional raw materials to do it. And I am going to give you exactly that list, ranked from helpful to genuinely transformative, so you know where to start and what to prioritize. Before we continue, I have a quick question for you. How old are you? In your 60s, 70s, maybe beyond? If you wake up in the morning and your legs or feet already feel swollen or stiff before the day even begins, type legs in the comments right now. I want to see how many of us are dealing with this same issue. Let us count down the 7 vitamins that clean your veins and stop leg swelling, starting with number 7. Number 7 is vitamin B6. Vitamin B6, also known as pyridoxine, is not typically the first vitamin people associate with leg health, but its role in circulatory function is deeply underappreciated. Here is the mechanism. Vitamin B6 is one of three B vitamins, along with B9 and B12, that controls homocysteine levels in the blood. Homocysteine is an amino acid that, when it accumulates at high concentrations, acts like sandpaper against the interior walls of your blood vessels. It creates micro lesions. It triggers chronic inflammation. It accelerates the breakdown of the collagen matrix that keeps vein walls smooth, flexible, and properly sealed. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that adults with elevated homocysteine levels had a 44% higher risk of developing chronic venous insufficiency, the medical term for the condition that causes persistent leg swelling, compared to those with normal levels. And who is most likely to have elevated homocysteine? Adults over 60 who are deficient in B6. That is a direct measurable connection between one vitamin and one of the most common causes of leg problems in older adults. After 60, dietary absorption of vitamin B6 drops significantly. The stomach produces less acid, which is needed to extract B vitamins from food. Even people who eat B6-rich foods like chicken, fish, bananas, and potatoes may not be absorbing adequate amounts. The recommended intake for adults over 50 is 1.7 milligrams per day for men and 1.5 for women. But many functional medicine practitioners who work with seniors recommend therapeutic doses of 25 to 50 milligrams daily under physician guidance to actively lower elevated homocysteine. The practical approach is simple. A good quality B-complex supplement will include B6 alongside B9 and B12. Take it with your largest meal of the day for optimal absorption. Within 3 to 4 weeks, many patients notice reduced leg fatigue and lighter sensation in their lower limbs. Not dramatic, but real measurable progress. And that is just number 7. Number 6 is vitamin B9, also known as folate. Folate works in direct partnership with B6 in the homocysteine pathway I just described, but it also has an independent mechanism that matters enormously for vein health. Folate is essential for the production of nitric oxide, a compound your body manufactures to relax and dilate blood vessels. Think of nitric oxide as a natural vasodilator. When your blood vessels relax, blood flows more freely. When they constrict, pressure builds, flow slows, and fluid is more likely to leak into surrounding tissue. After 60, nitric oxide production declines by approximately 50% compared to young adulthood. 50%. This is a primary reason why circulation becomes sluggish with age. A clinical study published in Nutrients Journal found that folate supplementation in adults over 65 led to a statistically significant improvement in endothelial function, the health of the vessel lining, within 12 weeks. Participants reported reduced leg swelling and improved walking endurance. The research showed a 31% improvement in vascular responsiveness in the folate group compared to placebo. You can get folate from dark leafy greens like spinach and romaine lettuce, from lentils, from asparagus, and from avocado. However, cooking destroys a large portion of folate. If you are relying on cooked vegetables alone, you are likely falling short. A supplement containing 400 to 800 micrograms of methylfolate, the active form, is well absorbed even in adults with reduced digestive function. Take it in the morning with your B6. Pro tip on this one. Look for the methylfolate form rather than folic acid on supplement labels. Methylfolate bypasses a conversion step that a significant percentage of older adults cannot perform efficiently due to a common genetic variation. It is a small detail that makes a significant difference in how well the vitamin actually works. Number 5 is vitamin E. Vitamin E is a fat-soluble antioxidant with a very specific protective role in vascular tissue. Here is the mechanism. The interior walls of your veins and capillaries are lined with cells called endothelial cells. These cells are in constant contact with flowing blood, which carries free radicals, inflammatory compounds, and oxidative stress. Vitamin E acts as a shield for these endothelial cells, neutralizing free radicals before they can damage the cell membranes and trigger inflammatory cascades that weaken vessel walls. Beyond its antioxidant function, vitamin E has mild natural anticoagulant properties. It reduces the stickiness of platelets, the tiny cell fragments in blood that form clots. This is relevant for leg swelling because blood that flows more smoothly is less likely to pool or create the microclots that worsen venous congestion. A study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that women over 60 who supplemented with vitamin E had a 21% lower incidence of venous thromboembolism, clotting events in the deep veins over a 10-year follow-up period. For practical use, 400 international units of mixed tocopherols, a form of vitamin E that contains both alpha and gamma tocopherol, is more effective than alpha tocopherol alone. Take it with a fat-containing meal since vitamin E is fat-soluble and requires dietary fat for absorption. Nuts, seeds, and avocado are excellent natural sources if you prefer whole foods. Sunflower seeds and almonds are particularly rich. Here's something most people miss with vitamin E. High doses above 1,000 international units can interfere with blood clotting, so if you are on a blood thinner like warfarin, discuss vitamin E supplementation with your doctor before starting. At standard doses of 400 units, most people have no issue, but this is an important caveat for older adults who are often on multiple medications. Now let us move to something more powerful. Number 4 is vitamin C. Here is where things get interesting. Vitamin C is far more than an immune supplement. In the context of leg swelling and vein health, it performs a function that nothing else can replicate. Vitamin C is the single most essential cofactor for collagen synthesis. And collagen is the structural protein that forms the walls of your veins, your capillaries, and the connective tissue that keeps vascular structures intact and properly shaped. When vitamin C levels are low, collagen production drops. Vein walls become thinner, more fragile, and more permeable. Fluid passes more easily through weakened walls and accumulates in surrounding tissue. This is one of the primary mechanisms behind the type of leg swelling that worsens throughout the day. It is not just about blood volume. It is about structural integrity. A study published in the European Heart Journal found that patients with chronic venous insufficiency had significantly lower plasma vitamin C levels than control subjects, and that supplementation with 1 gram of vitamin C daily over 8 weeks led to a 38% reduction in capillary permeability, essentially how leaky the small blood vessels were. 38% reduction in leakiness. That translates directly to less fluid accumulating in the tissue around your ankles and calves. After 60, vitamin C absorption becomes less efficient and cellular turnover demands more of it, especially in adults dealing with inflammation or chronic stress. 1,000 milligrams per day divided into 2 doses of 500 milligrams is generally well tolerated and therapeutic. Taking it with food reduces the rare possibility of stomach discomfort. Citrus fruits, bell peppers, kiwi, and strawberries are outstanding dietary sources. Pro tip: combine your vitamin C with a flavonoid-rich food or supplement. Citrus bioflavonoids dramatically enhance vitamin C absorption and have their own vein-strengthening properties. This combination is the foundation of many European vascular health protocols that American physicians have been slow to adopt. If you believe the right vitamins can genuinely help your leg circulation and reduce that chronic swelling, type yes in the comments right now. If you are still skeptical, type 0. Either way, your response helps other viewers know they are not alone in dealing with this. I want to share a patient story here that perfectly illustrates what vitamin C and the nutrients we have covered so far can do. I remember Patricia, a 74-year-old retired school teacher from Atlanta. She had been dealing with leg swelling for 4 years. Every afternoon, by 2 or 3 o'clock, her ankles would be so swollen she could press a finger into the skin and the indentation would stay there for almost a minute. Her doctor had checked her heart, her kidneys, her thyroid. Everything came back normal. She was told this was just venous insufficiency from aging. She was given compression stockings and sent home. When she came to my office, she was quiet and a little defeated. She told me, "Doctor, I feel like I'm disappearing into this problem. I cannot wear real shoes anymore. I cannot walk through the grocery store without pain." We did a comprehensive nutritional panel. Her vitamin C was severely low. Her B6 was borderline deficient. Her vitamin E was below optimal. We built a simple protocol. Nothing complicated, no prescriptions, just targeted supplementation based on her specific gaps, combined with a few dietary adjustments. 3 weeks later, she called my office. She said, "Doctor, I do not know what happened, but I walked the entire farmer's market on Saturday. I was in real shoes. My ankles barely swelled at all." 6 weeks after starting the protocol, she came back in for a follow-up. The pitting edema was essentially gone. She was back to her afternoon walks. She told me, "I feel like I got my legs back." This was not a miracle. This was her body finally receiving the raw materials it had been starving for. And you can experience exactly the same thing. Number 3 is vitamin K2. Most people have heard of vitamin K in the context of blood clotting, and they stop there. But vitamin K2 is a profoundly different compound from vitamin K1, and its role in vascular health goes far beyond clotting. Here is the mechanism that most physicians do not discuss. Vitamin K2 activates a protein called matrix GLA protein, often abbreviated MGP. Matrix GLA protein is your body's primary natural inhibitor of vascular calcification. In plain terms, it stops calcium from depositing inside your blood vessel walls. When K2 levels are insufficient, calcium that should go to bones begins accumulating in the vascular tissue instead. The walls of your veins and arteries become stiff and rigid. They lose their elasticity. Stiff vessel walls cannot respond properly to changes in blood pressure or volume. They cannot accommodate the pulsatile flow that keeps blood moving efficiently. The result is increased vascular resistance, reduced circulation, and greater pressure in the peripheral veins of the legs. That pressure drives fluid into surrounding tissue. That is leg swelling. A landmark study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that adults with the highest vitamin K2 intake had a 52% lower rate of cardiovascular calcification compared to those with the lowest intake. More directly relevant to our topic, a study in thrombosis and hemostasis found that K2 supplementation over 12 weeks significantly improved venous elasticity and reduced leg circumference measurements in adults with chronic venous disease. 52% lower calcification. That is not a marginal finding. The natural dietary sources of K2 include fermented foods like natto, a Japanese fermented soybean product that has extraordinarily high K2 content, hard and soft fermented cheeses, egg yolks, and grass-fed butter. Most Americans over 60 get very little K2 from diet alone because our food supply is not fermentation heavy. Supplementation with 100 to 200 micrograms of MK7, the most bioavailable form of K2, taken with a fat-containing meal, is the most reliable approach. Critical note on safety: if you are on warfarin or another vitamin K antagonist anticoagulant, speak with your doctor before taking K2. The interaction is manageable but requires monitoring. For everyone else, K2 is extraordinarily safe and profoundly underutilized. Now, before we continue to the final 2 vitamins, I want to make a brief request. If what you have heard so far feels genuinely useful, I am asking 2 simple things. First, subscribe to this channel. My mission is to provide clear, straightforward health information designed for adults over 60. Second, share this video with someone you care about. A parent, a sibling, a friend who has been living with swollen, aching legs. A single click could start a conversation that genuinely changes their quality of life. Now let us keep going. Number 2 is magnesium. I know what you are thinking. Magnesium is a mineral, not a vitamin. And you are correct. But its role in vascular function is so critical, so dramatically underestimated, and so profoundly deficient in the senior population that I would be doing you a disservice to leave it off this list. Think of it as the honorary vitamin your veins are desperately waiting for. Here is the mechanism. Magnesium is required for the proper function of the sodium-potassium pump, the molecular mechanism inside every cell that regulates fluid balance. When magnesium is deficient, this pump malfunctions. Sodium accumulates inside cells and in surrounding tissue. Water follows sodium. The result is fluid retention, and it happens with particular intensity in the lower extremities because gravity is already working against you. Beyond fluid regulation, Magnesium is a natural calcium channel blocker. It competes with calcium at the receptor level on smooth muscle cells and blood vessel walls. When magnesium is present in adequate amounts, blood vessels remain relaxed and dilated. When it is deficient, calcium dominates, vessels contract, resistance increases, and peripheral circulation suffers. This is why magnesium deficiency is directly associated with leg cramping, restless legs, nighttime leg pain, and chronic swelling. A study published in Magnesium Research found that 68% of adults over 60 in the United States have dietary magnesium intake below the recommended daily allowance. 68%. A separate study in the American Journal of Hypertension found that magnesium supplementation over 12 weeks significantly reduced peripheral vascular resistance and improved lower limb blood flow in older adults. Participants reported a 34% reduction in self-reported leg heaviness and swelling. For supplementation, magnesium glycinate or magnesium malate are the forms best tolerated by older adults without causing the laxative effect associated with magnesium oxide. 300 to 400 milligrams taken in the evening is ideal because magnesium also supports deeper sleep and muscle relaxation overnight. Dietary sources include dark chocolate, pumpkin seeds, almonds, and black beans. Here's something most people completely miss with magnesium and leg swelling. The timing matters. Taking magnesium at night means your vascular tissue is being bathed in relaxed, dilated, well-perfused circulation for the 8 hours you are horizontal. This is when the body does its most significant circulatory repair and when fluid that accumulated during the day has the best chance of being reabsorbed and cleared. I want to tell you about James, a 71-year-old retired firefighter from Chicago. James had been dealing with leg swelling and painful nighttime cramps for over 2 years. Every evening, his calves would seize up so violently that his wife would wake up to help him stretch them out. He was waking up exhausted every morning, his feet and ankles visibly puffy. His cardiologist had cleared his heart. His nephrologist said his kidneys were fine. He was told to drink more water and keep his legs elevated. It was not helping. When James came to see me, his nutritional evaluation showed severely depleted magnesium. His zinc was also low, and his B6 was at the bottom of the reference range. I started him on magnesium glycinate 400 milligrams at bedtime, alongside the other vitamins we have discussed today. Within 10 days, the nighttime cramps had reduced dramatically. Within 4 weeks, he sent me a message through our patient portal. He wrote, "Doctor, I slept through the night. My legs look normal in the morning. My wife says I look 10 years younger. I feel like myself again." 3 months later, James was back to his weekend hiking routine he had abandoned 2 years earlier. He had lost 8 pounds of what turned out to be retained fluid weight. His energy was different. His confidence was different. This was not complicated medicine. This was correcting a deficiency that his body had been screaming about for years. The same result is available to you. Now I want to hear from you. Now, have you ever been told your leg swelling was simply from aging with no further investigation? Share your experience in the comments right now. I read every single one. Before we continue with the final vitamin, if you are finding this information helpful and genuinely useful, please hit that like button and subscribe. Every week I share practical, science-backed health information designed specifically for adults over 60. And now we arrive at number 1. The vitamin I told you about at the very beginning. The one that reduced chronic leg swelling by 63% in clinical trials. The one almost nobody is talking about. Number 1 is diasmin and the hesperidin flavonoid complex combined with vitamin P. I need to explain something here. Diosmin and hesperidin are often classified in the vitamin literature under the umbrella of vitamin P, a term for bioflavonoids that were originally recognized as essential vascular nutrients decades ago before being reclassified as non-essential by regulatory bodies. But in clinical practice, these compounds function with the precision and potency of the most powerful vascular pharmaceuticals available, and they do it without the side effects. Here's what they do. Diosmin and hesperidin work through 4 simultaneous mechanisms in the venous system. First, they increase venous tone, the natural contraction force of the vein walls that pushes blood upward against gravity. This directly addresses the valve dysfunction that causes blood to pool. Second, they reduce capillary hyperpermeability. They essentially seal the leaks in the small blood vessels that allow fluid to escape into surrounding tissue. Third, they have potent anti-inflammatory effects specifically within lymphatic and venous tissue, reducing the chronic low-grade inflammation that accelerates vascular deterioration. Fourth, they improve lymphatic drainage, the secondary circulation system that absorbs and clears excess fluid from tissue. All four mechanisms acting simultaneously is why the clinical results are so dramatic. Let me give you the science. A randomized controlled trial published in the Annals of Vascular Surgery assigned adults with chronic venous insufficiency to receive either a diosmin hesperidin complex called Daflon or placebo for 60 days. The treatment group showed a 63% reduction in leg heaviness, a 58% reduction in swelling measured by ankle circumference, and a 47% improvement in leg pain scores. These are pharmaceutical-grade results from a natural compound. A meta-analysis published in the European Journal of Vascular and Endovascular Surgery reviewed 14 clinical trials and concluded that diosmin hesperidin supplementation provides statistically significant improvements in all major symptoms of chronic venous disease, including swelling, heaviness, cramps, and skin changes. Here is what makes this even more remarkable. The European medical community has recognized diosmin as a legitimate vascular pharmaceutical for over 40 years. It is prescribed by doctors across France, Spain, Italy, and throughout Eastern Europe as a first-line treatment for venous insufficiency. In the United States, it is available over the counter as a dietary supplement, completely ignored by most practitioners, sitting on pharmacy shelves unrecognized for what it actually is. For practical use, the clinically studied dose is 900 milligrams of micronized diosmin combined with 100 milligrams of hesperidin, taken as a single 1-gram dose with your main meal. Alternatively, 500 milligrams twice daily provides similar outcomes. The micronized form is critical because standard diosmin has poor absorption. Look specifically for the word micronized on the label. Results are typically noticed within 3 to 4 weeks, with maximum benefit seen at 3 months. Pro tip on this one. The combination of diosmin hesperidin plus vitamin C, which is number 4 on our list, is synergistic. Diosmin reduces capillary leakage, while vitamin C strengthens the collagen matrix of the vessel wall. Together, they address both the functional and structural causes of leg swelling simultaneously. This pairing is used in integrative vascular medicine protocols across Europe. And in my own clinical practice, I have seen it produce results faster than either compound alone. Now let me tell you about Barbara. Barbara was a 78-year-old retired nurse from Philadelphia. She had spent 35 years on her feet, caring for patients, and by the time she retired, her legs had paid a visible price. Both ankles were chronically swollen. The skin on her lower legs had taken on a brownish, leathery appearance that she knew from her nursing experience was lipodermatosclerosis, a sign of chronic venous damage. She had 3 different compression garments. She slept with her feet elevated on 2 pillows. Nothing was working well enough. When Barbara came to my office, she was worried that she was heading toward venous ulcers. That was her fear, and it was not unfounded. I started her on the micronized diosmin hesperidin complex alongside vitamin C, magnesium glycinate at night, and K2 in the morning. I also addressed her borderline B6 and B9 levels. After 6 weeks, Barbara came back with photographs she had taken herself. The swelling had visibly reduced. After 3 months, the skin discoloration had begun to lighten. After 5 months, she told me something that made me genuinely emotional. She said, "Doctor, I walked my granddaughter to school last week. For the first time in 4 years, I wore normal shoes, no compression stockings. I cried halfway there." Her vein walls were rebuilding. Her lymphatic drainage was working again. Her body was healing because it finally had the materials to do it. Barbara was not a miracle patient. She was a woman whose body had been starved of specific compounds for years. When those compounds were restored, her body did exactly what it was designed to do: repair. Now let me give you exactly how to implement this starting tomorrow morning. Here is your action plan. Day 1 through 7, focus on foundations. In the morning, take your vitamin C 500 milligrams with breakfast, your K2 100 micrograms with breakfast since it needs fat for absorption, and your B complex, which covers your B6 and B9. In the evening with dinner, begin your diosmin hesperidin 1 gram with your main meal. At bedtime, take your magnesium glycinate 300 to 400 milligrams. Add your vitamin E 400 units with your largest meal. Within 3 days, you may notice slightly reduced leg fatigue by evening. Within 1 week, most people notice their morning puffiness is less pronounced. Within 2 weeks, the afternoon swelling that used to be automatic begins to moderate. Within 4 weeks, you will likely notice a measurable difference in how your ankles look and feel at the end of the day. Within 3 months, the full structural rebuilding that diosmin, vitamin C, and K2 support will be well underway. Here are the mistakes you absolutely must not make. First, do not take everything on an empty stomach. These are fat-soluble and absorption-dependent vitamins. Take them with food every single time. Second, do not expect overnight results. The vascular rebuilding process that these vitamins support takes time because it involves actual structural changes in vessel walls and capillary integrity. 3 to 4 weeks for initial noticeable change, 3 months for full benefit. Patience is part of the protocol. Third, do not skip the magnesium. Many people take the others and leave magnesium off the list because they do not think of it as a vascular vitamin. It is the missing link in most cases I see. Fourth, do not take high-dose vitamin E or K2 without mentioning it to your doctor if you are on anticoagulant therapy. The interaction is manageable, but your doctor needs to know. Fifth, do not assume generic folic acid is the same as methylfolate. If you have had limited results from standard B vitamins in the past, switching to the methylated forms may be the breakthrough you have been waiting for. You are not broken. Your vascular system is not a lost cause. Your body has the biological machinery to repair vein walls, strengthen capillary integrity, reduce inflammation, and clear retained fluid. It simply needs the right raw materials to do it. What I have described today is not exotic, expensive, or complicated. It is targeted, evidence-based nutritional support for a system that has been running on empty. This is preventable. This is reversible. The power to change this is genuinely in your hands. Here's my challenge to you. Commit to this protocol every day for 30 days, just 30 days. Track how your legs feel each morning. Note the swelling level each evening. Take a photograph of your ankles at the start and again at day 30. Your circulatory system will thank you. Your independence will thank you. I want to leave you with Barbara again for a moment. After 9 months on this protocol, she called my office just to tell me something. She said, "I never thought about my legs anymore. Not once today." That is the gift you gave me. That is what this is about. Not just reducing swelling, not just managing a number on a lab report. Getting back the freedom to live your life without your body constantly demanding your attention. So let us recap what we covered today. 7 vitamins that clean your veins and stop leg swelling. Number 7, vitamin B6, which lowers the homocysteine that acts like sandpaper on your vessel walls. Number 6, vitamin B9 as methylfolate, which restores nitric oxide production and keeps your vessels dilated. Number 5, vitamin E, which shields your endothelial cells from oxidative damage. Number 4, vitamin C, which rebuilds the collagen matrix of your vein walls and seals capillary leaks. Number 3, vitamin K2 as MK7, which removes calcium deposits from your vessels and restores their elasticity. Number 2, magnesium glycinate, which regulates cellular fluid balance and relaxes peripheral blood vessels while you sleep. And number 1, micronized diosmin and hesperidin, the most powerful natural vascular compounds known to clinical science, proven to reduce leg swelling by 63% in controlled trials. Each of these has its own mechanism, its own specific way of supporting a system that your body is fighting to maintain every single day. Combined, they create conditions where your venous system can finally do its job properly. If you found this video helpful, please do not keep it to yourself. Hit that like button. Subscribe so you never miss the straightforward senior health information we share every week. And share this with someone who needs it. A friend who always has swollen ankles at dinner? A parent who stopped wearing their favorite shoes? A neighbor who was told nothing could be done? One click from you might be the turning point in their story. And now I truly want to hear from you. Which vitamin from this list surprised you the most? Which one will you start with first? Share your answer in the comments below. I read every single message, and your experience matters. Because remember, aging does not take away your body's ability to recover. It simply reminds you to care for it the right way. Take care of yourself.